Chapter 46-47, The Evil Disciple. The large kitchen knife might have felt the disdain of the large brick. The blade flashed with a red light and emitted a terrifying pressure. The enchantment instantly dissipated. Hei Shinjo was so shocked by the explosion of the large kitchen knife that she opened her mouth wide. Before she could recover from her shock, the bead flew into her mouth impatiently. Hei Shinjo. This guy used his spiritual perception to look inside, and the bead was long gone. It had probably been swallowed by the black bead. The black bead gave off a lazy feeling. It would probably be quiet for a while. Hei Shinjo then lowered her head to look at the large kitchen knife in her hand. It looked no different from usual, as if everything that had happened before was just an illusion. Just as Hei Shinjo was in a daze, the large brick once again turned into a floaty shape and drilled into Hei Xinjia's glabella. Hei Xinjia's heart skipped a beat. Someone must have come. She blinked her eyes, took out Chu Fang's voice transmission talisman, and said a few words. Then, she quickly stuffed a handful of antidote into Wan Qingba's mouth. However, when he saw Yun Chuzhou slashing at him with a big kitchen knife, he subconsciously picked up the sword next to him and stabbed at Hei Shinjo. Yun Chuzhou dodged while shouting sternly, "Wan Qingba, as a successor disciple, why did you harm my master and break into the forbidden area? What are your intentions?" How could Wan Qingba know that this guy was digging a hole? He said coldly, "Cut the crap and go to hell." Almost as soon as Wan Qingba finished speaking, a few figures rushed in. The leader was Master Ouyang. As it turned out, as long as there was a strange movement in the underground enchantment, not only Master Ouyang, but also Elder Duanmu and the others would sense it, so they all rushed to Master Ouyang's courtyard. But Fei sensed that someone was coming. He was afraid that his life would be in danger, so he hurriedly fed the antidote to Master Ouyang. The drifters who stayed behind to protect Master Ouyang went into hiding. After Master Ouyang woke up, he was completely dumbfounded. He remembered that he was competing with his little disciple with his sword, and that little girl actually stabbed him. After he took the little girl's pill, he fainted. Just as Master Ouyang was a little dumbfounded, but Face barked at him and dragged Zhuang Hong out from under the bed. Master Ouyang was even more dumbfounded now. At this moment, Elder Duanmu and the others came in. When Master Ouyang learned that someone had broken into the forbidden area, he immediately ignored everything else and hurriedly brought everyone down the well. Master Ouyang and the others naturally heard the conversation just now and glared at Wan Qingba. Wan Qingba knew that he wasn't a match for them and bit his finger to use a secret technique to escape. Hei Shinjo clearly knew that he was trying to escape, but she didn't warn Master Ouyang and the others. She only pretended to attack with a large kitchen knife. This guy was very shrewd. As long as Wan Qingba escaped, the crime of stealing the bead could be pinned on his head. Moreover, Elder Wan still wanted to be the sect master with such a stain. Dream on. However, how did Wan Qingba know the secret technique of the Divine Devil Hall? Could it be that he was a member of the Divine Devil Hall? How could Wan Qingba know the twists and turns in Hei Xinjia's mind? After he finished casting his secret technique, he disappeared. At this moment, Hei Shinjo shouted, "Where is he? Damn it, I just remembered that he used the secret technique of the Divine Devil Hall. Oh my god, is he a member of the Divine Devil Hall?" Master Ouyang and the others' attention was on the bead. Oh no, the bead was stolen by Wan Qingba. Master Ouyang's head buzzed as he looked at Hei Shinjo, who was shouting happily, "Evil disciple! Why did you knock me out? Are you with that Wan Qingba?" Chapter 46-48, I don't want to live anymore. Hei Xinjia's eyes widened in disbelief before she revealed a very hurt expression. "Master, you called me an evil disciple? You still said that I'm in cahoots with Wan Qingba. Sob, I risked my life not to protect the sect's treasures, but you said that about me? I don't want to live anymore. I'm too sad, I'm too ashamed to face anyone." As Hei Shinjo said this, she picked up the large kitchen knife and was about to commit suicide. Elder Dongfang and the others naturally wouldn't sit idly by. They hurried forward to stop her. He Xinjiu waved the large kitchen knife crazily. Don't come any closer. If my master doesn't return my innocence today, I won't live no matter what. Elder Dongfang glanced at the dumbfounded Master Ouyang. Master, you too. This matter hasn't been settled yet. How can you talk about little Jill like this? No matter how thick-skinned she is, she's still a little girl, right? Hey Xinjiu, Elder Dongfang, do you know that you won't have any friends if you talk like this? Master Ouyang was so angry that he was twitching. He pointed at his left shoulder and said, You. If she didn't have evil intentions, why would I faint? Why would she appear here? Everyone looked at Master Ouyang's left shoulder when they heard that. Although the wound had already healed, there were still traces of blood on his clothes. However, how could Yun Chuzhou hurt the sect leader? Yun Chuzhou cried and said, I don't know what happened either. When I fed you the pill, you fainted. I helped you into the house. I wanted to find someone to check on your injuries, but I fainted too. Master Ouyang asked suspiciously, You fainted too? Then why did you appear here? And why was Zhuang Hong knocked out? Yun Chuzhou pouted and said, HMPH. I can see that you are more biased towards that ingrate Zhuang Hong. Before Master Ouyang could reply, Yun Chuzhou continued, When I woke up, the sky was already dark. I was about to turn on the lights to see what was going on when I heard movement outside, so I hid under the bed. In the end, I saw Zhuang Hong and a masked man walking in. Zhuang Hong even said that he wanted to kill you. At that time, I had already made up my mind that I would rather die than save you. However, I did not expect that the other person said that taking the bead was more important. He asked Zhuang Hong to stay behind to watch over you and kill you when the bead was in his hands. After that person left, Zhuang Hong cursed and said that you were biased towards Zhangli before and now you are biased towards me. You are a damn old bastard. Master Ouyang almost died from anger when he heard that. He Xinjiu did not care about him and continued, I was too angry for a moment. I grabbed Zhuang Hong's ankle and dragged him down. Then, I knocked him unconscious. I was afraid that they had accomplices, so I didn't use my identity jade token to send the message. I only had senior brother Chu's voice transmission talisman, so I used the voice transmission talisman to inform senior brother Chu to help me deliver the message to Elder Gu. I was afraid that the man would slip away from the well after he succeeded, so I took the risk and followed him down. I felt that he seemed to know me, so I tricked him. I didn't expect that he would believe me and take off his mask. Only then did I know that he was Wan Qingbo. You all saw what happened after that. This is what happened. If you don't believe me, you can ask senior brother Chu. I reckon that he and Elder Gu should already be up there. Master Ouyang was still a little suspicious. Even if what you said is true, then why did I faint after taking your pill? Why did you wake up before me? Chapter 46-49, Chu Fang's testimony. He Xinjiu said unhappily, How would I know? Maybe Zhuang Hong, that ingrate, drugged your bedroom before. Otherwise, I wouldn't have fainted too. I'm so miserable. I risked my life to save someone, but I was falsely accused of being Wan Qingba's accomplice. Even if he has accomplices, they should be his father and his nephew. He Xinjiu's words immediately reminded everyone. Only then did they look at Elder Wan, who had been standing there in a daze without saying a word. Elder Wan had obviously suffered a heavy blow and had been standing there in a daze. It was true that he wanted to usurp the position of sect master, but he definitely did not let Wan Qingba come over to steal the bead. He also did not know that his son's spiritual power was actually so high. Although when he entered, he only saw Wan Qingba and Yun Chuzhou exchanging a few moves, but with his eyesight, he could naturally see Wan Qingba's true spiritual power. Moreover, just as Yun Chuzhou had said, the secret technique that Wan Qingba used in the end to escape was clearly the secret technique of the Divine Devil Hall. How could he be related to the Divine Devil Hall? He Xinjiu looked at Elder Wan, who had suffered a heavy blow, and her heart moved. She recalled that when Elder Wan's eldest son, Wan Pengcheng's father, had died, Wan Qingba had also been present. Most importantly, Wan Pengcheng's father had also been bitten to death by a demonic beast. If this was true, it would be a tragedy in the human world. Although He Xinjiu had a plan in her heart, she had not cleared up her enmity yet. Naturally, she could not cause any more trouble and continued to groan and seek death. Master Ouyang calmed down a little and said coldly, "Let's go up first." He Xinjiu also knew that she could not cause too much trouble, so she followed behind the crowd in tears. Elder Dongfang and Elder Duanmu supported the dazed Elder Wan on their left and right as they went up together. As soon as the crowd showed their heads, they saw Elder Gu approach them anxiously. "Are you all right? What is going on?" When the crowd saw Elder Gu and Chu Fang behind him, they immediately believed most of Yun Chujia's words. After the crowd entered the living room, Master Ouyang asked, "Chu Fang, when did you receive Yun Chujia's message? What did she tell you?" "Sect Master, Junior Sister Yun sent me the message at the 3rd quarter of the hour. It was just that I was at the critical moment of my breakthrough, so I couldn't check the voice transmission talisman immediately. After I succeeded in my breakthrough, I went to check the voice transmission talisman. Therefore, I delayed the time. Please punish me, Sect Master." Chu Fang's face was full of guilt and self-blame. At this moment, Chu Fang's heart was like a beeping dog. A quarter of an hour ago, he received He Xinjia's voice transmission talisman. "Remember, I will inform you at 5:30 p.m. I want you to inform your master that the sect leader is in trouble. If you tell me that you have been exposed, then don't even think about marrying Little Moon." Chu Fang looked at the time. It was almost midnight. How was he supposed to round it off? Chu Fang thought about it and was so anxious that he was about to hit the wall. He suddenly remembered that he had just broken through in the afternoon, and no one else knew about this news. That was why he had this excuse. Elder Gu proved at the side, sect leader, Chu Fang's original spiritual power was at the 3rd layer of the quietness of the spirit. Now he is already at the 4th layer of the quietness of the spirit. Moreover, his condition is unstable. Obviously, he has just broken through not long ago, so he should not be lying. Chapter 4650, Evidence. Master Ouyang had a good impression of Chu Fang. He had always thought that Chu Fang was an honest child, so he still believed in what he said. In addition, with Elder Gus' testimony, he was even more convinced. How could he have known that Chu Fang was no longer honest? He had been completely led by He Xinjiu to become a drama queen. Zhuang Hong looked wronged. "Master, this has nothing to do with me. It was Yun Chujiu who framed me. I have no idea what is going on." He Xinjiu wiped her tears and said, "Master hasn't said anything yet, and you are accusing me of framing you. Aren't you being dishonest? Master, since he's drugged, there must still be some powder left on him. You can just search his storage ring." Zhuang Hong wasn't willing to let anyone search his storage ring. There was still that kind of incense in his storage ring. If he was found, the evidence would be irrefutable. However, it was useless even if he didn't want to. Master Ouyang had someone take off the storage ring on his hand. Ignoring his pleas, he wiped away the spiritual imprint on it. Zhuang Hong let out a miserable cry. It was obvious that his spiritual imprint had been damaged. Master Ouyang did not even look at him. He used his spiritual imprint to scan the storage ring. Very quickly, he found incense and some medicinal pills. There was even a jade plate with a picture of the resurrection lily engraved on it. Master Ouyang closed his eyes and only opened them after a long while. Then, he threw those things in front of Zhuang Hong and said in a somewhat hoarse voice, "What are these? Are these the things that Little Nine framed you?" He Xinjiu curled her lips secretly. She called her Little Nine now. Didn't she call her an evil disciple before? Tui. Zhuang Hong saw that the matter had been exposed. He kneeled a few steps and said with snot and tears, "Master, I was wrong. I was bewitched by that person and did something wrong in a moment of stupidity. Please spare me." A moment of stupidity? Don't you know that the divine devil hall is everyone's public enemy? You drugged me and even tried to kill me in a moment of stupidity. Were you also in a moment of stupidity when you joined forces with others to steal the sect's precious treasures? Zhuang Hong, ever since Zhang Li's accident, I had high hopes for you. But what did you do? Master Ouyang said dejectedly. He wished he could slap Zhuang Hong to death, but after thinking about how he had to tell the truth about some things, he softened his tone and said, "Sigh, for the sake of master and disciple, if you tell the truth, I will give you a lighter sentence. Tell me, how did you collude with Wan Qingbo? And what are your plans?" Zhuang Hong was stunned. Wan Qingbo. Master Ouyang took a deep breath. Don't tell me you don't know that the person who sneaked in with you is Wan Qingbo. Zhuang Hong widened his eyes in disbelief. No, that's impossible. How could Master be Wan Qingbo? Alright, don't worry about who he is, just tell me what you know. Master Ouyang had mixed feelings in his heart. Little Nine had only met him once and she had already revealed the identity of that person. This idiot was so good that he didn't even know that the person who had been in contact with him was Wan Qingbo. In order to survive, Zhuang Hong had no choice but to tell the whole story. Actually, the matter was not complicated. When Zhuang Hong saw that Master Ouyang was becoming colder and colder towards him, he had other thoughts, so he was very close to Elder Wan. However, although Elder Wan was very polite to him, he did not completely trust him. Coincidentally, at this time, the person wearing the mask appeared. Chapter 4651 was a good deed. That person directly stated that he was a member of the Divine Devil Hall. He promised Zhuang Hong that as long as he could help him get the pearl, he would help Zhuang Hong get the position of the sect leader. Not only that, he also promised him a bunch of benefits. For example, when the Divine Devil Hall occupied the sky-high continent in the future, it would allow his influence to expand even further. Zhuang Hong was still a little hesitant at first, but Yun Chujia's return made him make up his mind. That was why he would cooperate with Wan Qingbo. After Zhuang Hong finished speaking, he cried out bitterly, "Master, I was blinded by lard for a moment. Please spare me. I will definitely change my past and never dare to do it again." He Xinjiu was shocked. Oh no, she had forgotten about this. If Zhuang Hong did not admit it, wouldn't old man Ouyang suspect her? What should she do? Just as this fellow was trembling in fear, Elder Wan, who had been in a daze, suddenly rushed over and grabbed Zhuang Hong's neck. "You're spouting nonsense. Qingbo can't be from the Divine Devil Hall. It must be your slander. I'll strangle you to death." Zhuang Hong did not expect Elder Wan to suddenly go crazy. He rolled his eyes. Elder Dongfang and the rest hurried to pull Elder Wan away. By the time they pulled him away, Zhuang Hong was already dead. He Xinjiu had never seen Elder Wan so pleasing to the eye. This old thing had done a good deed. However, did this old thing just happen to go crazy, or was there something else going on? Could it be that this old man had done something to old man Ouyang's food or bedroom? He Xinjiu felt that the latter possibility was more likely. TSK, old man Ouyang really had to thank her properly. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Master Ouyang slammed the table. "Elder Wan, what do you mean? Why did you kill Zhuang Hong? Are you trying to silence him?" Elder Wan did not reply. He just kept muttering, "Impossible. It's all fake. Qingbo can't be someone from the Divine Devil Hall, it's impossible." Yun Chujiu curled her lips. Elder Wan was muddle-headed before and there was an 80% chance that it was true. Now, he was obviously acting. However, seeing that he had helped her a great deal earlier, she did not expose him. Elder Ma, who was usually on good terms with Elder Wan, took out a calming pill and fed it to Elder Wan. Only then did Elder Wan seem to have regained his consciousness and said dejectedly, "Sect Master, my family had the misfortune of having an unfilial son. I have failed to teach him well and am willing to accept the punishment of the sect. Elder Wan, let's not talk about Wan Qingbo first. Why did you strangle Zhuang Hong just now?" Master Ouyang asked coldly. He laughed coldly in his heart. This Elder One was still scheming at this point. How could he get away with it just because he didn't teach him well? Elder Wan looked at Zhuang Hong's corpse blankly. He was killed by me. Why should I kill him? Master Ouyang saw the situation and knew that he was planning to act shamelessly. However, he naturally wouldn't let him off so easily. Elder Wan, no matter what, Wan Qingba is your son. You can't escape the blame. In order to prove your innocence, hand over your storage ring to this seat to check. Elder Wan gritted his teeth and had no choice but to take off his storage ring and take the initiative to remove the spiritual imprint on it. After Master Ouyang sent his spiritual imprint in, he saw that not only were there huge amounts of spirit stones, but there were also many good things inside. He secretly hated this old thing for plundering so many things. Chapter 46-52, The Collapsed Elder One. However, Master Ouyang swept his gaze a few times and did not find anything suspicious. He snorted coldly and returned the storage ring to Elder Wan. Elder Wan, although there is nothing wrong with the contents of your storage ring, in order to prove your innocence, I can only temporarily keep you here and then send people to search your residence. Someone, bring Wan Pengcheng here immediately and search their residence. Elder Wan did not resist because the matter was of great importance. Even his henchmen would not speak up for him publicly at this time. Soon, Wan Pengcheng, who was dumbfounded, was brought over. Wan Pengcheng saw Elder Wan's dejected face and Zhuang Hong's corpse on the ground. He was very panicked. Grandfather, what? What's going on? What happened? Elder Wan patted him on the shoulder and did not say anything. He Xinjiu remembered the incident with Wan Pengcheng's father. She smiled and said, Senior brother Wan, you still don't know, right? Your uncle, Wan Qingba, is a member of the Divine Devil Hall. He stole our sect's most precious treasure. Wan Pengcheng retorted subconsciously, you're talking nonsense. Impossible. How could my uncle be a member of the Divine Devil Hall? Yun Chuzhou shrugged her shoulders, if you don't believe me, ask Elder Wan. Otherwise, why do you think I brought you here? Wan Pengcheng looked at Elder Wan, grandfather, is what she said true? Elder Wan let out a long sigh and remained silent. When Wan Pengcheng saw the situation, he immediately understood that what Yun Chuzhou said was true and he almost fainted. This news was like a bolt from the blue. He had originally been dreaming that Elder Wan would soon become the sect master, but who would have thought that such a thing would happen now? His uncle was actually from the Divine Devil Hall. And he stole the sect's most precious treasure. Yun Chuzhou said again, I told you that Wan Qingba wasn't a good person. Back then, Senior Uncle Zhangli, no, Senior Brother Zhangli might have been framed by him. The Divine Devil Hall has many strange medicinal powders. The medicinal powders that make demon beasts angry must have been obtained by Wan Qingba from the Divine Devil Hall. I wonder if there are still people in our sect who have been bitten to death by demon beasts. Maybe it's all done by Wan Qingba. As soon as Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, Elder Wan staggered and then collapsed on the ground. His eyes were lifeless, and his entire body could not help but tremble. He muttered, no, impossible, this is impossible. Wan Pengcheng was shocked. Grandfather, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Everyone present looked at each other. What was going on? Weren't they all awake earlier? Why did they become demonic again? Elder Dongfang suddenly slapped his thigh. Oh my god. This can't be right. Do you guys still remember how Elder Wan's eldest son, Wan Qingfeng, died? Elder Gu frowned. Wasn't Wan Qingfeng killed by a demonic beast when he went out for training? I heard that there wasn't even a corpse left. Why did you suddenly think of asking this? Elder Dongfang shook his head. If I remember correctly, there were a total of 4 people when he went out on the mission. Other than Wan Qingfeng and the other 2 inner sect disciples, there was also Wan Qingba. In the end, only Wan Qingba returned safely. Coincidentally, it was the demonic beast that went crazy again. Could it be that this was also designed by Wan Qingba? Chapter 4653 was even worse than me. When everyone heard Elder Dongfang's words, they couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Heavens, it's really possible that you said that. Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental that every time, the demonic beasts would go crazy, and only Wan Qingba would come back? Speaking of which, Wan Qingfeng's aptitude is stronger than Wan Qingba's, and he's even more highly regarded by Elder Wan. Could it be that Wan Qingfeng was jealous of his brother's aptitude, so he harmed his brother? TSK, it's not that my words are unpleasant, but when Wan Qingfeng was still around, Wan Pengcheng's personality wasn't as perverse as it is now. But ever since Wan Qingfeng died, Wan Qingba has been indulging him. Perhaps he intentionally wanted to raise him to be crippled. Wan Pengcheng looked at Elder Wan, who was already in a daze. When he heard the discussions of the crowd, his eyelids rolled and he immediately fainted. Everyone fed him pills and called out to him. Wan Pengcheng woke up and Elder Wan also regained his consciousness. However, he had aged a lot in an instant. He knew more details than the others. Therefore, when Yun Chujiu said those words, he had already thought of this point. No matter how scheming he was, he could not withstand such a huge blow. It was not just Wan Qingfeng's matter. Although Elder Wan was interested in the position of sect leader, he had not reached the point where he had to replace it. However, in the past few years, Wan Qingba had been fanning the flames. He had only begun to expand his power rapidly. He had even tampered with Master Ouyang's residence. He did not expect that the reason why Wan Qingba urged him so much was to make it easier for him to steal the bead. How was he raising a son? He was clearly an ingrate. Elder Wan stood up and did not say anything. He staggered away and did not even bother with Wan Pengcheng. When Wan Pengcheng saw Elder Wan, he quickly chased after him. Everyone sighed. No one could withstand such a blow. Elder Wan was afraid that he would not be able to recover from it. As everyone shook their heads and sighed, they heard Yun Chujiu sobbing, "Elder Wan is so miserable. Woo, he is even more miserable than me. I was only scolded by my own master as an evil disciple, but I was wronged as Wan Qingba's accomplice. It doesn't seem to be a big deal, but why is my heart about to break? Woo. The corner of Master Ouyang's eyes twitched. Naturally, he understood that He Xinjia's words were meant for him to hear. He had no choice but to bite the bullet and say, "Little Jiu, your master has wronged you. You've made a great contribution this time. Your master will reward you properly." He Xinjia wiped her tears with her hand while sobbing, "Master, what are you saying? I'm protecting you, protecting the sect's treasures, is it for the reward?" When Sect Master Ouyang and the others heard this, they exclaimed, "Io, why is this little girl suddenly so enlightened? She wasn't greedy for money anymore." However, they heard He Xinjiu continue, "However, since you insist on giving it to me, I'll take it well, Master, you don't have to give me more. Just give me 10 or 8 immortal artifacts." They thought too much. This girl was still the same person. On one hand, they had to quickly inform the other sections. Firstly, they had to help capture Wan Qingba. Secondly, they had to be on guard so that their pearls would not be stolen by the Divine Devil Hall. On the other hand, they had to investigate the sect disciples so that there were no more accomplices of Wan Qingba in the sect. Chapter 4654, One Arrow. Several carvings after the discussion, they left one after another, leaving only Master Ouyang and Yun Chujiu. He Xinjiu knelt on the ground with a thud. "Master, I was wrong." Master Ouyang was startled and almost jumped up from his chair. The first thought that flashed through his mind was, what kind of evil scheme is this little girl playing? Master Ouyang calmed himself down and said, What did you do wrong?" "Master, I shouldn't have taken the risk to enter the well. I should have stayed in the house to protect you. On one hand, I wanted to prevent that person from stealing the bead. On the other hand, I was very curious about the bead and wanted to take a look at it." This fellow was very shrewd. Although her lie was considered perfect, it was inevitable that Master Ouyang would become suspicious in the future. Moreover, she had previously asked Elder Dongfang about the situation of the bead. It would not be good if Master Ouyang found out about it one day. Since that was the case, she might as well admit that she was curious about the bead. This way, she could prevent future trouble. Master Ouyang nodded when he heard that. He knew that Yun Chuzhou was a temperamental person, and she was greedy for money. It was normal for her to be curious about the bead. Moreover, the situation was urgent at that time. She was still young, so it was normal for her to be careless for a moment. Moreover, didn't she leave a dog to protect him? Forget it, you were also protecting the sect's precious treasure. Moreover, you also informed Chu Fang at that time. It was just a coincidence that he broke through and delayed the time. I don't blame you, get up. He Xinjiu finally broke into a smile. I knew that you doted on me the most. Master, I'm your only precious disciple now. If you have anything good in the future, you must think of your precious disciple. Master Ouyang was so angry that he was amused. The last bit of doubt in his heart vanished into thin air. The master and disciple chatted for a while more. He Xinjiu slapped her thigh. Master, I almost forgot something. Elder Wan couldn't wait to strangle Zhuang Hong to death. Maybe he did something to your food or your house. Please ask someone who is proficient in medicine to take a look at you. Master Ouyang was shocked. He felt that what Yun Chuzhou said made sense. He quickly dismissed He Xinjiu and looked for the elders in the sect who were proficient in medicine to treat her. He Xinjiu strolled back to her courtyard and laughed out loud under her blanket. Ha ha ha. Perfect. This guy took a nap. After waking up, he felt refreshed. It was simply beautiful. This time, it could be said that he had killed several birds with one stone. The first harvest was naturally getting the bead, the second harvest was getting rid of Zhuang Hong, and the third harvest was defeating Elder Wan. The last two were completely unexpected joys. Once Zhuang Hong died, she would become the one and only disciple of the sect master. In the future, she would be able to do whatever she wanted in the sect. Elder Wan had suffered a great change. Master Ouyang would definitely take the opportunity to dismantle his power. Even if he were to recover in the future, he would not be able to achieve anything. The more He Xinjiu thought about it, the more beautiful she became. She crossed her legs and hummed a little tune as she basked in the sun. Just as she was enjoying herself, someone knocked on the door. Chu Fang's anxious voice was heard from outside. Junior Sister Yun, Junior Sister Yun, Junior Sister Yun. He Xinjiu opened the door impatiently. Senior Brother Chu, are you calling for Hun? Chu Fang cried, Junior Sister Yun, it's bad. Little Moon is getting engaged. Chapter 46-55. She was not as evil as Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. If you want to get engaged, you haven't gotten engaged yet. Besides, it's not like you're getting married. Why are you so anxious? Chu Fang. Chu Fang followed Yun Chuzhou into the courtyard like a bullied wife. He said anxiously, Junior Sister Yun, don't joke around. I'm dying of anxiety. I took a risk to help you previously. You can't just ignore me. Yun Chuzhou glared at him fiercely. What did you help me with? Are you stupid? If you mention this matter again in the future, I'll kill you to silence you. Chu Fang was so frightened that he shrunk his neck. How did he realize that junior sister Little Jiu had become even more ferocious after coming back this time? No, junior sister Yun, I'm talking nonsense. As long as you help me this time, senior brother's life will be yours in the future. Yun Chuzhou glanced at him. I didn't say that I wouldn't help. Oh right, how did you know that Little Moon was going to get engaged? Little Moon must be having a hard time now. She isn't like you who has a stomach full of evil thoughts. She only knows how to fight with Island Master Qi. She must have been locked up by Island Master Qi. Chu Fang sighed. Yun Chuzhou, who said that she had a bellyful of bad ideas. She was obviously a good girl with a good heart. She didn't know what bad ideas were at all. However, He Xinjiu saw that Chu Fang was in a daze, so she didn't argue with him. She comforted him, "Senior brother Chu, don't worry. This matter isn't necessarily a bad thing." Chu Fang was about to cry. This was not a bad thing. It was simply a bolt from the blue for him, okay? Senior brother Chu, as the saying goes, a blessing in disguise. Let's think of a way to turn this engagement banquet into your and Little Moon's engagement banquet. Do you think this is a good thing? Chu Fang's face was confused and confused. What the hell? Turn it into his and Little Moon's engagement banquet? Junior sister Yun was talking in her sleep because she lacked sleep last night, right? Junior sister Yun, don't tease me. As long as you can cancel this engagement party, I will be so grateful, Chu Fang said with a wry smile. Yun Chujo curled her lips. So, you don't want to be engaged to Little Moon? Chu Fang sighed. Of course I do. But you know that Island Master Qi doesn't like me. He wants Little Moon to marry a disciple of the Flying Flower Island. How could he agree to let me be engaged to Little Moon? He Xinjiu picked up a spiritual fruit and took a few bites. Then she said, "Isn't that easy? When the time comes, we'll have to beat the disciple who wants to get engaged unconscious. Why don't you go up instead?" The corner of Chu Fang's mouth twitched. Are you kidding me? If he really dared to do that, Island Master Qi would kill him, not to mention getting him and Little Moon engaged. Senior brother Chu, do you dare to believe me? If you dare, I promise to turn this engagement party into an engagement party between you and Little Moon, He Xinjiu said while blinking her eyes. Seeing that Yun Chujo didn't look like she was joking, Chu Fang immediately asked excitedly, "Junior sister Yun, are you telling the truth? If it's true, I, of course, believe you. What do you want to do? It's good that you believe me. I haven't thought about what to do. But first, you have to think of a way to get your master to bring you to the engagement party." Yun Chujo blinked her eyes and said. Chapter 4656 was a compliment. Chu Fang said with some difficulty, "Well, my master doesn't agree with me and Little Moon, so he definitely won't take me there." Yun Chujo spread out her hands. "Then I don't care. Anyway, I have already pointed out a bright path for you. If you don't leave, you can't blame me." Chu Fang thought hard for a while and said, "Or I will kneel down to my master. If he doesn't agree, he won't get up." Yun Chujo, you came up with such a bad idea after thinking for a long time? He Xinjiu saw Chu Fang sweating in anxiety and sighed, "All right, I'll give you some advice. Just tell Elder Gu that Little Moon is your inner demon. If you see her getting engaged with your own eyes, you'll have completely given up on her. Otherwise, you'll definitely go crazy in the future. Elder Gu will definitely agree with what you said." Chu Fang looked at He Xinjiu with admiration and said excitedly, "Junior sister Yun, you are really amazing. You have a bad idea with just a blink of an eye. I'm going to find my master first." He Xinjiu looked at him speechlessly. "Senior brother Chu, do you know that you won't have any friends if you talk like this? I really don't understand why Little Moon has taken a fancy to you." Chu Fang chuckled. "Junior sister Yun, aren't we treating each other like strangers? Moreover, I sincerely admire you. I say that you are a bad person and have bad ideas. These are all positive words." Yun Chujo rolled her eyes. It turned out that Chu Fang and Buttface were bosom friends. Chu Fang said a few more words and then hurried to find Elder Chu. Yun Chujo shook her head. She picked up the fruit and had just taken a few bites when she heard Buttface say, "Little fairy, Little Shadow has woken up. He is clamoring to see you." Yun Chujo felt that it was about time. If she still did not go along with him, Qiying would probably go crazy, so she let out the red shadow rabbit. Qiying had been living a life worse than death for the past 2 days. Although Qiying was not a world-shaking figure, he should not have been reduced to a smelly girl's spiritual pet, right? He was a human. A human, alright. Yun Chujo, what did you do to me? Why did I become your spiritual pet? Chi-ying gritted his teeth and asked. Yun Chujo spread her hands. Little shadow, you have wronged me. I didn't do anything. Besides, you are not my spiritual pet. Why don't we establish a contract now? Don't even think about it. Chi-ying immediately jumped several feet away. Perhaps he was too afraid, but he actually jumped on 4 legs at the same time. Seeing Chi-ying's funny look, Yun Chujo laughed so hard that she fell back and forth. Little shadow, congratulations. You've finally learned how to jump on 4 legs. Hei Shinjo finally managed to hold back her laughter and said seriously, Little shadow, you've really misunderstood me. I didn't mean to not find a human body for you. The main thing is that the sect is now strictly investigating the people of the Divine Devil Hall. If you possess another disciple, it's inevitable that you'll be discovered. Don't worry. When the wind blows over, it'll definitely find a good body for you and let you become a human again. Chi-ying looked at Yun Chujo suspiciously. Is what you said true? Of course it's true. It's more true than a pearl. We are in a cooperative relationship. If you continue to be a rabbit, won't I suffer a great loss? Yun Chujo said matter-of-factly. Although Chi-ying didn't really believe Yun Chujo's words, he didn't dare to be too forceful because he had been beaten up badly by Butt-Face and the others in the past 2 days. Chapter 46-57, The news from Chi-ying. Hei Shinjo blinked her eyes. Little shadow, do you prefer to stay outside or play with my spiritual pets? Chi-ying was so angry that he was twitching. Play. He would be beaten up one-sidedly, alright? If he had known that he would be so miserable in the hands of this wretched girl, he would have chosen to die at that time. As for why Chi-ying did not seek death now, the reason he gave himself was that he had already suffered so much. He had to think of a way to obtain some useful information so that his suffering would not be in vain. Chi-ying resisted the urge to slap Yun Chujo to death with his claws and said, I'd better stay outside. However, I think it's better to keep you in the spirit beast bag. Why do you think our thoughts are exactly the opposite? Hei Shinjo said with a smile. Chi-ying almost fainted from anger. This stinky girl must have done it on purpose. Little shadow, how about this? If you can provide me with information about the Divine Devil Hall, it'll leave you outside. Otherwise, it'll keep you in the spirit beast pouch. After all, Butt-Face and the others like you very much, Yun Chujo said sinisterly. Chi-ying couldn't believe his ears. This stinky girl was too mean. She was blatantly threatening him. Shameless. Chi-ying's rabbit-like body trembled when he thought of the gang fight in the spirit beast pouch. He thought to himself that he could use this opportunity to sow discord between her and Di Biming. Hence, he said, alright, then I'll tell you a piece of news. Our master is very resourceful. There are people from our Divine Devil Hall on every continent. If you know what's good for you, you can cooperate with me. We can kill Di Biming together, and it will be a great achievement. Before Chi-ying could finish his words, he was sent flying by Hei Xinjia's kick. He fell to the ground with a thud and almost broke 2 of his teeth. Little shadow, is this a piece of news? I think you really want to return to the spirit beast bag. As Yun Chujo was about to put Chi-ying into the spirit beast pouch, Chi-ying said with difficulty, wait, let me tell you something else. I heard that our master has specially groomed a woman to suppress Di Biming. She said that she had some entanglement with Di Biming in her previous life. I heard that they were even a pair of lovers. It's just that she hasn't recovered her memory yet. After Chi-ying finished speaking, his pair of red eyes stole a glance at Yun Chujo. He thought that Yun Chujo would definitely be shocked when she heard this news. She would go crazy from jealousy and even develop hatred because of love. However, he was disappointed. Yun Chujo still had a casual smile on her face as she looked at him with a smile. Are you done? I got it. Yun Chujo said lightly. Chi-ying was dumbfounded. That was it? What did she mean by that? He asked unwillingly, aren't you angry? Don't you want to know about the entanglement between that woman and Biming? Yun Chujo curled her lips. Little shadow, do you know that when you lie, your rabbit ears will stand up? Qi subconsciously lowered his long ears. At the same time, he also knew that he had been tricked. Damn it, this stupid girl was too smart. It was simply impossible to guard against her. Qi said exasperatedly, HMPH. What I said is not all lies. You will know when the time comes. There will be tears for you. When Biming meets his old lover, he will definitely abandon you. Otherwise, why wouldn't he always accompany you? He's simply toying with you. Chapter 46-58 One-Eared Rabbit. After hearing Qi Ying's words, Yun Chujo did not get angry. Instead, she started to laugh. Qi Ying was laughing until his hair stood on end. What are you laughing at? Yun Chujo stopped laughing and said, Little shadow, I am laughing at how pitiful you are. You don't know what feelings are, or rather, you don't have any feelings at all. You kept saying that you liked Chu Mo, but in the end, you still chose to follow me to Towering Sky Continent. It shows that your feelings for her are so fragile that they're not even as weak as tofu. Qi Ying saw that Yun Chujo mentioned Chu Mo, and his rabbit-like eyes immediately turned red. You're spouting nonsense. This is because Chu Mo rejected me. I don't want to not be able to be friends, so I followed you here. Yun Chujo pouted. TSK. What a nice way of saying it. Why did AOG stay? Stop quibbling. You only have your lord in your heart. I seriously suspect that the person you really like is your shitty lord. Qi Ying was so angry that he almost fainted. He pointed at Yun Chujo with his trembling front claws and said, You're shameless. How could a lady like you say such things? You're shameless. Yun Chujo shrugged her shoulders indifferently. Face is worthless to me. So, in the future, you better be smart, or I will change you into a female rabbit's body. Qi Ying kicked his leg and fainted. Yun Chujo curled her lips. You fainted just like that? Your mental endurance is too weak. After Yun Chujo said that, she took out a basin of ice water from her storage ring and splashed it on Qi Ying. Qi Ying was jolted awake by the ice. Qi Ying only had one thought at the moment. He wanted to die. For the first time, he felt that it was too difficult to live. Just as he was about to self-destruct, he heard He Xinjiu say faintly, Don't think that everything will be over with just your death. If you die, I will tell the people of the Divine Devil Hall what you told me. That dog shit owner of yours likes men and has a bunch of male pets by his side. Among them, you are one of them. Qi Ying was so angry that he was beyond angry. He pounced on Yun Chujo, intending to perish together with her. Unfortunately, the rabbit that he possessed was no match for He Xinjiu. Not to mention killing He Xinjiu, he was sent flying without even touching his clothes. Qi Ying was so humiliated that he turned into anger. He roared, Yun Chujo, I get it. You tortured me like this because I hit your sore spot. You were afraid that Biming would change his heart. You said that you didn't care, but in fact, you already believed it. Ha, you poured your heart and soul out for Biming, but in the future, he will abandon you for that old lover. You are simply a pitiful worm. Yun Chujo walked to his side, took out a large kitchen knife, and cut off one of his rabbit ears. Then, she said with a smile, Little shadow, you may have made a mistake. Whether the gigolo and I were enemies in his previous life or he had other little lovers, those are all matters of his previous life. It has nothing to do with me. Also, I'll make a bet with you. Even if he had someone he liked in his previous life, that person would definitely be my previous life. That's because he would never fall in love with another woman other than me. So, don't embarrass yourself in front of me with that clumsy trick of yours in the future. The freshly cooked one-eared rabbit's face was filled with shock and defeat. Did this wretched girl really believe that debiming? Chapter 46-59 Earning some betrothal gifts. Chi-ying was stunned for a moment, then he snorted coldly, "Don't be so full of yourself. People change. Debiming likes you in this life, but it doesn't mean that he likes you in his previous life." Yun Chuzhou threw him a bottle of pills to stop the bleeding, and said with a chuckle, "I can't help it. I believe in him as if I believe in myself, so don't play tricks in front of me. I remember you once said that if the ghost ancestor hadn't met with an accident, the Lord wouldn't have reincarnated. From this, it can be seen that he and I were definitely a pair of lovers in our previous life." Sheng Zun said, "What do you know?" "Back then, you too." Chi-ying stopped talking and only snorted coldly. Yun Chuzhou didn't ask further. Instead, she said, "I still have to thank you for telling me that your dog shit owner has a woman by his side. Actually, even if you didn't tell me, I would know. Isn't it that Su Yenran? Speaking of which, that little bitch hasn't shown her face for a long time. I really miss her a little." Chi-ying did not utter a word. He cursed inwardly. "Pervert. You are a pervert." Yun Chuzhou did not continue to teach Chi-ying a lesson. Instead, she sat on the chair and hummed a little tune as she pondered over the matter between Chu Fang and Xiao Yu. Island Master Qi, that stubborn old fogey, was indeed a little difficult to deal with. He had to think of a way to win by surprise. Chi-ying was secretly delighted when he saw Yun Chuzhou's troubled look. He had thought that Yun Chuzhou really did not care as she had said, but it turned out to be a lie. As long as he continued to work hard in the future, he would definitely be able to drive a wedge between her and debiming. When that time came, he would have made a great contribution. As for what love was, HMPH. He did not care. After a while, Chu Fang ran back excitedly. "Junior sister Yun, Master has agreed to bring me to the Flying Flower Island. Have you gone to talk to the sect leader?" Yun Chuzhou looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. "Senior brother Chu, I am now my master's only precious disciple. Can he not bring me along? There are still about 10 days before the departure. Don't be idle. Let's do some small business and earn some betrothal gifts for you. You can't go to propose marriage empty-handed, right? Junior sister Yun, it's so short and you can't earn much money. I think it's better to forget it." "I still have some savings," Chu Fang said. "Forget it. Island Master Qi is even more greedy than me. How can he take a fancy to your little money? Don't worry. As long as you do as I say, I guarantee that you will earn a lot of money." Hei Xinjiu felt that her heart was broken. Why did she feel like an old mother helping her foolish son to marry a wife? Chu Fang thought of Island Master Qi and could not help but frown. "All right, junior sister Yun, I'll listen to you. What kind of business do you want me to do?" "Let's hold an auction in the sect. The auction item is to have a meal with me," Hei Xinjiu said with a smile. "Chu Fang, junior sister Yun, wake up. The sun has already risen so high, are you still dreaming?" Chu Fang had the intention to refuse, but when he thought of Xiao Yu and Yun Chuzhou's previous glorious deeds, he forced himself to agree. The next day, the Nameless Sword sect exploded. "Senior brother Li, have you heard about that matter?" "Of course I've heard about it. Even the odd job workers in the kitchen know about it now. How could I not know? Who would spend at least 100,000 high-grade spirit stones in exchange for a chance to have a meal with that Yun Chuzhou? That Yun Chuzhou and Chu Fang are most likely crazy from poverty." Chapter 46-60, Profiteering Merchant Chu Fang received a lot of ridicule and rolled his eyes. He came to see Yun Chuzhou dejectedly. "Junior sister Yun, I told you that this move of yours wouldn't work. Now, both of us have become the laughingstock of the Nameless Sword sect." Yun Chuzhou took out a pen and paper and said to him, "I said write it, come." Chu Fang didn't understand what she meant, but he still started writing according to Yun Chuzhou's instructions. "Auction notice for the Little Nine banquet. Do you want to know how a genius of a generation was trained? Do you want to know the secret to breaking through the 10th level in one night? Do you want to know how to jump from a handyman to a successor disciple of the sect leader? All the answers would be revealed at the Little Nine banquet one by one. As hosting the banquet was too exhausting, only 50 people were allowed to attend this time. The highest bidder would get it. It was a once-in-lifetime opportunity. If you didn't come, it would be your loss for the rest of your life. If you didn't come, it would be a regret that you would never be able to make up for. After Chu Feng finished writing, he was dumbfounded. This junior sister Yun was too good at deceiving people. Chu Feng thought that the more money he earned, the more he would be able to move Island Master Qi, so he said, "Junior sister Yun, isn't 50 people too little? Why don't we write 100 people?" Wrong. The fewer people there are, the more precious the qualifications are. Only then will they spare no effort to raise the price, Yun Chuzhou said sinisterly. Junior sister Yun, what are you going to say at little Zhou's banquet? You'll know when the time comes, Yun Chuzhou said mysteriously. Chu Feng shook his head and went to paste the notice. Seeing the notice this time, some people were a little tempted. Not to mention other things, that Yun Chuzhou had broken through 10 layers in one night. If they could learn the secret of this, it would be worth it no matter how many spirit stones they spent. Seeing that everyone's reaction was better than before, Chu Feng was slightly relieved. However, would there really be an auction at that time? Soon, it was the day of the auction. The scene could be described as a sea of people. Almost 90% of the nameless sword sect's disciples had arrived. Chu Feng braced himself and went up to the high platform and said, "The first round of the Little Nine Banquet's qualification auction will now begin. The first person to attend the banquet will now begin the auction. The starting price is 100,000 high-grade spirit stones." After Chu Feng finished speaking, the people below were discussing animatedly, but none of them were bidding. Chu Feng couldn't help but secretly groan bitterly. He had said that this method wouldn't work, so how could he end things now? I bid 150,000. Junior sister Yun has mastered 3 types of sword intent. If I'm lucky enough to gain enlightenment of sword intent, let alone 150,000, even 5 million would be worth it. 180,000. I must get it today. No matter what, I must get this opportunity. As soon as someone took the lead, others immediately began to raise their bids. The bidding price also began to soar rapidly to 1 million. Chu Feng was dumbfounded. Oh God, are these people crazy? When the price soared to 1.5 million, no one raised their bids anymore. They thought that since there were still 49 spots left, at worst, they could just bid for the next round. Thus, Chu Feng landed the gavel. The first person to attend the banquet has been selected. Congratulations, senior brother. Now, the second person to attend the banquet will begin the bidding. Chu Feng originally thought that the bidding price would be lower as time went on. Who would have thought that the atmosphere would be heated up? The people were already hot-blooded. They were afraid that they would not be able to get it, so the price soared all the way. The final spot even soared to 3.5 million upper-grade spirit stones. Chu Feng floated all the way back to Yun Chujia's courtyard. He simply felt that everything was a dream. Yun Chuzhou glanced at him and said faintly, "Remember to pay Zhao Hui 50,000 spirit stones. This is the money I hired my child. Otherwise, where do you think the first few idiots came from?" Chu Feng, profiteer. A blatant profiteer. Chapter 4661, Don't Go Home Until You're Drunk. Chu Feng finally realized what had happened. He had said that the few people who had been the loudest in the beginning had kept quiet in the end. It turned out that it was junior sister Yun who had found a scapegoat. It wasn't that he was too naive, it was just that junior sister Yun's tricks were too deep. While Chu Feng was feeling emotional, he was also a little worried. Junior sister Yun, these people have spent a lot of money. If you can't satisfy them by then, I'm afraid you won't be able to be kind. Yun Chuzhou crossed her legs and said carelessly, "Don't worry. The money has already entered my pocket. If they want to go back, there's no way. Chu Fang, that wasn't what he meant, alright. Forget it. Junior sister Yun was full of bad ideas anyway. She might have already thought of a countermeasure. The next day, it was the day of Little Nine's banquet. The venue of the banquet was set in He Xinjia's courtyard. The hearts of the 50 people who were qualified to attend the banquet were beating fast. The atmosphere at that time was too intense. They had participated in the auction on a whim. When they calmed down, they regretted it. Although that Yun Chuzhou said it in a flowery manner, she had a heavenly thunder spirit root. Naturally, she was different from them. Their money would probably go down the drain. When they saw the dishes on the table, they were so angry that their noses were crooked. Other than a pot of wine, there was only a large pot of stir-fried cabbage on the table. There was nothing else. This was called a banquet. What kind of joke was this? Chu Fang saw everyone's angry gazes and secretly lamented. Junior sister Yun, oh, junior sister Yun, you are too stingy. You are in charge of the 3 courtyards kitchen, so why did you get stir-fried cabbage? Just as Chu Fang was at a loss, He Xinjiu strolled out of the house. She nodded at everyone. She was just like a wolf with a big tail. Everyone forcefully suppressed their dissatisfaction and prepared to see what Yun Chuzhou would do next. After all, they were not here to eat, but to clear their doubts. Yun Chuzhou strolled to the front and poured herself a cup of wine. Then, she raised it and said, "Everyone, thank you for coming to Little Zhou's banquet. This glass is my toast to everyone. Let me drink to you first." They thought that after drinking this glass of wine, Yun Chuzhou would be able to get to the main topic. Who would have thought that she would continue to say, "Come, let us raise our cups together. We wish our nameless sword sect to become better and better, and become the #1 sect in Towering Sky Continent as soon as possible." Since they had already put down the big hat, they could not refuse, so they drank another cup. "Come, let us raise our cups together again. We wish my master to live a long and boundless life, and to live a younger and younger life." When the crowd heard this, they could only raise their cups again. The 4th glass wishes everyone to break through their shackles as soon as possible and achieve what they desire. Everyone was persuaded by He Xinjiu one glass after another. However, every time He Xinjiu proposed, they had no way to refuse. Soon, their eyes became a little blurred. They had probably forgotten the purpose of their visit. Chu Fang watched from the side. He wondered if junior sister Yun was trying to get these people drunk. If that was the case, junior sister Yun wouldn't be beaten to death after these people sobered up, right? Everyone, let's enjoy life to the fullest. Don't let the golden jar be empty against the moon. Today, let's get drunk until we return. Senior brother Chu, come over and help us entertain ourselves with a sword dance. Chu Fang, just as Chu Fang was hesitating, Yun Chuzhou glared at him. Chu Fang thought of his marriage and had no choice but to brace himself and walk forward to begin the sword dance. Chapter 46-62, Do you want to go to heaven? Yun Chuzhou pointed at a disciple and said, "Senior brother, tell me, what troubles do you have? Let me help you solve your doubts." The disciple drank the wine in the cup in one gulp and said, "I reached the 6th level of Lingwu 3 years ago, but I haven't been able to break through until now. I suspect that I can only stop at the 6th level of Lingwu for the rest of my life." Yun Chuzhou nodded, then sighed and said, "Senior brother, you are really right. It is impossible for you to break through in your life. You should give up." Chu Fang, who was dancing with his sword, staggered. "Junior sister Yun, are you going to the sky? If you speak like this, that person might flip over the table and beat you up." Unexpectedly, when that person heard Yun Chuzhou's words, he was first stunned, then burst into tears. Yun Chuzhou ignored him and pointed at another person. "Senior brother, what are you unhappy about?" That person laughed bitterly. "I haven't been able to comprehend a sword intent until now. I go to the waterfall at the back of the mountain every day to practice, trying to comprehend the fast sword intent, but I haven't gained anything. Senior brother, it's not that my words are unpleasant, but with your comprehension ability, don't waste your time to comprehend sword intent in the future. You will never succeed in comprehending it in your lifetime, Yun Chujo said with certainty. When that person heard that, he started to drink dejectedly and didn't say anything else. After that, after everyone voiced out their worries, they were all dealt a blow by Hei Shinjo. They either wailed loudly or drank quietly. Chu Feng put away the treasured sword in his hand, and his heart was like a muttering dog. Junior sister Yun, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to become the public enemy of the sect? Due to the high profile and weirdness of Little Joe's banquet, many people were watching the entrance of Hei Xinjia's courtyard curiously. However, when Hei Shinjo had opened the isolation array, they couldn't see anything. At this moment, Hei Shinjo had opened the isolation array. The people outside the courtyard craned their necks to take a look. They saw that the people who were attending the banquet were all wailing like ghosts, as if they had suffered a huge blow. Oh God, what did this Yun Chujo do? Yun Chujo said to the crowd with a smile, did you all see that? After listening to my advice, they were all enlightened and cried in excitement. Chu Feng, you're lying through your teeth. Doesn't your conscience hurt? The onlookers believed it and felt somewhat regretful. If they had known earlier, they would have gone bankrupt to bid for a qualification. At this time, Yun Chujo opened the isolation array again, blocking the sight of those people. Chu Feng came to Yun Chujia's side and said nervously, Junior sister Yun, how can this end? When they sober up, they will definitely not let this go. Chu Feng could only stare at the people attending the banquet bitterly. He comforted himself. This was all for the betrothal gift of the little moon. It was worth it to stay up late. However, he was really worried that these people would not let him off the hook the next morning when they were sober. No matter who spent a large sum of money, they would not let it go even after they had gotten drunk. The more Chu Feng thought about it, the more he felt a headache. He sighed. If it really did not work out, he could only take a beating on behalf of Yun Chujo. After all, junior sister Yun was doing this for him. Under Chu Feng's worries and anxiousness, the sun had risen. The drunk people woke up one by one. First, they looked around in confusion. Then, they glared at Chu Feng. Chu Feng, where is Yun Chujo? Do you think we are fools? Chapter 46-63, Honest and unscrupulous businessman Chu Feng's heart skipped a beat. He knew it would be like this. Junior sister Yun, oh junior sister Yun, what should we do now? Everyone, listen to my explanation. Before Chu Feng could say anything, he was interrupted angrily by the crowd. Explanation. Explain what? Damn it, I spent 2 million high-grade spirit stones, and you let me drink a few cups of wine and eat a few pieces of broken cabbage? You're trying to trick us. Pay up. If you don't pay up, well, go to the sect leader and reason with him. Right, you have to give us an explanation today, or else we won't let it go. Chu Feng was anxious. At this time, Yun Chujo walked out of the room yawning and said lazily, what are you arguing about? I've already told you all my experience yesterday. What else do you want? Those people were stunned. You're talking nonsense. How come we don't remember what you said? Yun Chujo snorted coldly. Are you shameless? How can you eat, drink, and listen to me, but now you don't admit it? Yesterday, I taught you everything I've learned over the years. You all listened to me like you were intoxicated, and some of you even cried in excitement. If you don't believe me, you can go out and ask the onlookers later. They all saw your performance at that time. You guys really let me down. Get out, all of you get out. Take it as if I fed the food and wine I learned last night to the dogs. Those people were dumbfounded by Hei Xinjia's scolding. Could it be that they were drunk and could not remember? At this moment, Yun Chujo removed the isolation array. Many people had gathered outside the door to watch the show. Some of them stretched their necks and shouted, Senior brother Lu, you were crying like that yesterday. What kind of experience did you have? Old Duan, you were so emotional with snot and tears yesterday. What exactly happened? At this moment, Yun Chujiu snorted and said, all of you can go back. Although the doubts in your hearts have been solved, you still need to cultivate diligently to succeed. In less than half a year, you will definitely gain something. When those people heard Yun Chujiu's words, they could only leave doubtfully. Those people who were watching the show also dispersed one after another. In their hearts, they calculated that if these people were effective within half a year, they would participate in Little Nine's banquet no matter what. When Chu Fang saw that everyone had left, he had a conflicted look on his face. Junior sister Yun, isn't it a little bad for us to do this? Yun Chujiu glanced at him. What's bad about it? Isn't this a lie? You just got them drunk, and yet, you've already taken so much money from them. If they don't gain anything within half a year, they will definitely come to settle the score with us. Yun Chujiu looked at Chu Fang as if she was looking at an idiot. Are you stupid? Even if a fool cultivates for half a year, they won't gain anything at all. How can they not gain anything at all? Chu Fang, too cunning. Besides, my wine is not an ordinary wine. It has been added with medicinal herbs to cleanse the marrow and bone. In addition, they had a big cry yesterday. The knot in their hearts has dissipated a little. I believe it will be effective, Yun Chujiu said with a light smile. Although she was full of bad ideas, she still had a bottom line. She was an honest and unscrupulous profiteer. Chapter 46-64, Demon Sky Bell and Wooden Fish. Chu Fang's jaw dropped in shock. It was actually like this. Yun Chujiu ignored the dumbstruck Chu Fang and began to eat her breakfast. Chu Fang came back to his senses and sat opposite her as he began to eat his breakfast. Junior sister Yun, I really admire you. Yun Chujiu curled her lips and didn't say anything. She was the female emperor of Zephyr, the grand ghost ancestor. What was this little trick? Thinking of this fellow felt that it was hard to explain. She clearly had so many awesome identities, but now she could only be a shrimp. It was really frustrating. Thus, this fellow turned his grief and anger into appetite and scooped another bowl of porridge. Junior sister Yun, what is that on your wrist? Chu Fang asked in surprise. Due to her wide sleeves, he didn't notice that Yun Chujiu had a red rope tied to both her wrists. He only saw a small bell tied to the red rope on her right hand. What was that on her left hand? Why did it look like a wooden fish? Yun Chujiu was stunned when she heard Chu Fang's question. She lowered her head and looked at her own hands. She had forgotten about these two things. This fellow had the temperament of a wild goose plucking its feathers. Therefore, he had pulled a lot of good things from the ghost region and the demon region. However, when he returned to Towering Sky Continent, he was stunned to find that the origin beast pouch and storage rings from before had all disappeared. He did not expect that the demon sky clock and the wooden fish were still there. It was really strange. Yun Chujiu tried to communicate with the demon sky clock and the wooden fish with her spiritual sense, but there was no response. Could it be that they had gone into hibernation? She thought for a moment. These two were treasures from the demon territory. They were probably useless in the Towering Sky Continent. So, they had gone into hibernation. Chu Fang saw that Yun Chujiu was in a daze and did not say anything. He took a closer look and then asked, Junior sister Yun, could it be that you had an argument with your fiancé and wanted to become a monk? Yun Chujiu glared at him. You are the one who wants to become a monk. Hurry up and eat. After you finish eating, clean up the courtyard for me. Chu Fang laughed dryly twice, but he cursed in his heart. Junior sister Yun was just a little girl, yet she brought these two things related to the temple. Was it really good? In the blink of an eye, it was time to set off for the Flying Flower Island. Since it was to attend the engagement banquet, naturally, he would not bring many people. Therefore, Master Ouyang only brought Elder Dongfang, Elder Gu, and Chu Fang. Chu Fang followed Elder Gu to the gathering place. He didn't see Yun Chuzhou, so he asked Master Ouyang in puzzlement, "Master, why don't I see junior sister Yun?" Master Ouyang looked at him in puzzlement. "Little Jiu won't come with us this time, so she naturally won't come." After Master Ouyang said that, he summoned his flying spirit tool and was about to set off. Chu Fang was about to cry. Just as Chu Fang was feeling anxious, he saw He Xinjiu jumping over. "Master, wait for me. How could you forget your precious disciple?" Master Ouyang looked speechlessly at He Xinjiu who had run over. "What are you doing here? Cultivate well in the sect. While I'm away, you should assist Elder Duanmu well." Master Ouyang was 120 times unwilling to let He Xinjiu go to the Flying Flower Island because he knew about Chu Fang and Xiaoyu. He was afraid that his cheap disciple would ruin Island Master Qi's engagement party. He Xinjiu also knew this, so she didn't ask Master Ouyang to go with her. Instead, she caught Master Ouyang off guard. "Master, how can I trust you to go out alone? If I don't have a precious disciple, who will cook for you? If I don't have a precious disciple, who will entertain you? Moreover, Little Moon and I are good sisters. I naturally have to congratulate her on her engagement. I even prepared a wedding gift for her. Please let me go with you. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I will do anything good in the sect," He Xinjiu said while blinking her eyes. Chapter 46-65, Have you received your retribution? Master Ouyang was so angry that he laughed. This little girl used both carrot and stick. It seemed that she had to go. However, he thought that this little girl was a troublemaker. It was indeed not safe for her to stay in the sect. It was better to keep an eye on her. Hence, he nodded. "All right, then you can go with me. However, there is one thing. You are not allowed to cause trouble after you go. Otherwise, I will not forgive you." Yun Chuzhou nodded. "Master, don't worry, I will be obedient." Master Ouyang did not have much confidence in this fellow's guarantee, but he did not say anything. He summoned his flying spirit tool, and after the 5 of them went up, they set off for the Flying Flower Island. Chu Fang had a false alarm and wiped the cold sweat on his head. Thinking about how he would be able to see Xiaoyu soon, and then thinking about how Yun Chuzhou said that this engagement banquet would be between him and Xiaoyu, he was extremely excited. Elder Gu saw Chu Fang foolishly laughing at the side and shook his head. This silly disciple of his couldn't have gone crazy because he was too sad, right? He Xinjiu, on the other hand, was constantly fawning over Master Ouyang by the side, pouring tea, passing pastries, and even joking around to amuse him. Master Ouyang was very pleased. He had finally chosen the right third disciple. He Xinjiu had a good impression of him for a while, then returned to her cabin to think about her next step. This time, she went to the Flying Flower Island to help Chu Fang and Xiaoyu on one hand, and on the other hand, for the beads on the Flying Flower Island. Although she did not know what the black bead was, she had a feeling that the more beads the black bead swallowed, the closer she was to the truth of her previous life. She thought of Wan Qingba again and had a question in her heart. Although Wan Qingba was a member of the Divine Devil Hall, what was the relationship between him and Lan Luochen? Did he listen to Lan Luochen, or did he and Lan Luochen belong to the two forces of the Divine Devil Hall? Thinking of meeting Lan Luochen on the Flying Flower Island, He Xinjiu felt a headache, toothache, and pain all over her body. That was a psychopath. And it was a poisonous psychopath. Just as He Xinjiu was thinking, Chu Fang knocked on the door and came in. "Junior sister Yun, we've encountered the flying spiritual weapon of the 9 pavilions. Tower Master Luochen is going to take our flying spiritual weapon to the Flying Flower Island together. The sect leader asked me to call you out." He Xinjiu wished she could slap herself. It was all because of her jinx. Master Ouyang's flying spirit tool was extremely luxurious. There was a cabin specially for guests. When Yun Chuzhou entered, she was talking and laughing cheerfully. It was very amiable. Tower Master Luochen saw Yun Chuzhou enter and his gaze immediately fell on her. He said with some concern, "Little Jiu, it's great that you're okay." Yun Chuzhou glanced at him and was slightly stunned. Lan Luochen had obviously lost a lot of weight compared to a year ago, and his complexion wasn't too good. Lan Luochen saw that Yun Chuzhou was sizing him up, and his face revealed some joy. Little Jiu was concerned about him. He looked at Yun Chuzhou with anticipation, but he heard Yun Chuzhou say faintly, "Tower Master Luochen, you have retribution?" Lan Luochen, Master Ouyang coughed dryly, "Tower Master, little Jiu has been running a fever recently, so she's talking nonsense." Master Ouyang sighed in his heart. Tower Master Luochen was infatuated with little Jiu, but little Jiu was clearly happy with her fiancé. Tower Master Luochen was destined to be disappointed. Chapter 46-66, Chu Fang, who was glared at Lan Luchen's eyes, instantly dimmed. He smiled bitterly and continued to chat with Master Ouyang. He Xinjiu stood behind Master Ouyang and had no intention of talking to Lan Luochen. After a while, Yun Chuzhou found an excuse to go back to her cabin. She didn't want to suffer there. For the rest of the journey, besides eating, Lan Luochen didn't have the chance to see Yun Chuzhou at all. Even so, his mood was much better. It was good to see little Jiu. He thought of the next plan and was a little excited. Soon, little Jiu would be able to stay by his side. A few days later, everyone arrived at the Sea of All Things. Elder Jia of the Flying Flower Island was already waiting by the seaside. After some small talk, the group boarded the ship and headed to the Flying Flower Island. He Xinjiu recalled that when she first came here, she was still an inner disciple. Now that she had become the sect leader's disciple, her heart was filled with joy. When this fellow saw the sea beasts that occasionally appeared in the sea, he thought of the group of giant winged birds in his spirit beast bag and could not help but feel a little guilty. She had never been able to find a suitable place for them to nest. The Sea of All Things forbade flying, and it wasn't suitable for them to build a nest either. The fellow decided that after this matter, she would help them find a suitable place to build a nest no matter what. This time, the group wasn't arranged to be on the guest island. Instead, they were directly arranged to be in the guest house on the main island. The hospitality of the Flying Flower Island was quite good. Elder Jia said a few more polite words before leaving. Chu Fang could not wait to find He Xinjiu. "Junior sister Yun, what should we do next? Should we think of a way to see the little moon? What's the hurry? Perhaps Island Master Qi has already sent people to keep an eye on us. We can't act rashly. Besides, we arrived earlier than expected. The official date of the engagement party is in 3 days. No hurry, take your time," Yun Chuzhou said with narrowed eyes. Although Chu Fang was burning with anxiety, he didn't dare to disobey Yun Chuzhou. He could only obediently stay in the guest house. That night, Island Master Qi specially held a banquet to entertain Master Ouyang and Tower Master Luochen. He Xinjiu naturally took the opportunity to go with him. He actually dared to trick his precious disciple. He was really courting death. In his opinion, Chu Fang must have used some kind of method. Otherwise, how could such an outstanding disciple like him fall for such a good-for-nothing trash? Chu Fang felt Island Master Qi's unkind gaze. Just as he was about to cower like usual, he remembered Yun Chuzhiu's instructions. He gritted his teeth and straightened his back, his expression as usual. Island Master Qi was stunned. Oh, this good-for-nothing had improved this time. Every time he saw him, he would act like a mouse seeing a cat. Why did he become neither servile nor overbearing this time? Could it be that he had given up because Xiao Yu was about to be engaged? When Island Master Qi thought of this, not only was he not happy, he was even a little angry. This brat really did not have any sincerity towards Xiao Yu. Otherwise, why would he give up so easily? How outrageous! Although Island Master Qi was angry, he couldn't say anything. He just glared at Chu Fang even more angrily and started to chat with Master Ouyang and the others. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Island Master Qi looked at an old man with a smile. Elder Diao, call Luo Feng over so that everyone can get to know each other. Chapter 46-67, Trust Xiaojiu, get Xiaoyu. Luo Feng was Xiaoyu's betrothal partner, Elder Diao's eldest disciple. Island Master Qi originally planned to wait until the betrothal banquet to introduce Luo Feng to everyone. However, seeing that Chu Fang didn't care at all, he wanted to use Luo Feng to provoke Chu Fang and make Chu Fang feel inferior. After a moment, a young man wearing the clothes of a true disciple of the Flying Flower Island walked in. He Xinjiu sized him up. To be honest, this Luo Feng looked a bit stronger than Chu Fang, and her spirit energy was also one level higher than Chu Fang's, but so what? Little Moon liked Chu Fang, not him. Moreover, she felt that this Luo Feng's gaze was a bit erratic, making people feel uneasy and definitely not a good match. After Luo Feng respectfully bowed, Island Master Qi smiled and helped him introduce Master Ouyang and the others. Luo Feng's behavior was quite appropriate, which made Island Master Qi even more satisfied. He had carefully selected this person among the many disciples on the island, so he was naturally much stronger than that blockhead Chu Fang. Thinking of this, Island Master Qi went to see Chu Fang's expression, but he was disappointed to find that although his expression was slightly stiff, it wasn't much different from usual. How could he know that if He Xinjiu hadn't taken precautions for Chu Fang might not have been able to hold on for so long? Even so, he still felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Was this Luo Feng the person Island Master Qi had arranged for Little Moon to be engaged to? Although she was slightly stronger than him and her spirit energy was one level higher than his, so what? He had junior sister Yun. He trusted little Jiu and got Xiaoyu. Yes, that was it. At this moment, dishes and wine were served one after another. Flying Flower Island was close to the sea, so most of the dishes and wine were sea beasts or the specialties of the sea. He Xinjiu was quite happy eating. This fellow secretly made a lot of food into the spirit beast bag in a shameless manner and gave it to those dumb cuties to eat. Thus, Master Ouyang watched with a stiff expression as his precious disciple quickly finished off her table of food. He thought to himself that it was a good thing that everyone had a separate square table for this banquet, or else, it would really be too embarrassing. Others might even think that their nameless sword sect couldn't even afford to eat. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 different dishes, Island Master Qi said with a smile, "There's no point in eating and drinking so dryly. Master Ouyang, why don't we let the juniors have a competition?" Master Ouyang was also an old fox, so he naturally understood Island Master Qi's meaning. He wanted to refuse, but as a guest, it wasn't good to give face to Island Master Qi. So he could only say, "Okay, but don't go too far." That's for sure. Luo Feng, spar with Chu Fang of the Nameless Sword Sect. Be careful of your boundaries and don't injure him, said Island Master Qi. Luo Feng immediately stood up and smiled at Chu Fang. Young Master Chu, please. Although Chu Fang knew he wasn't a match for Luo Feng, he naturally wouldn't bow to a love rival, so he stood up and walked up to Luo Feng. Luo Feng lightly smiled and said, "Young hero Chu, my spirit energy level is 1 level higher than yours. For fairness sake, I'll suppress my spirit energy to the same level as yours, 4th level of Spirit Nirvana Realm, and I'll give you 3 moves." Chu Fang's face instantly flushed red. He didn't think Luo Feng was being kind and was clearly humiliating him. He Xinjia's eyes instantly narrowed. Luo Feng actually dared to bully her people, this Luo Feng really deserved to be taught a lesson. Chapter 46-68, Senior Brother Chu has gone astray, there's no need. Since it's a competition, we naturally have to do our best. Otherwise, it would be disrespectful to the opponent. Make your move. Chu Fang said coldly. Although he was a little dazed about Xiaoyu's matter and was crushed into dregs in front of He Xinjiu, his thoughts were very meticulous. Otherwise, he wouldn't have discovered He Xinjia's perversion so early on. He knew that regardless of whether Luo Feng suppressed his spirit energy or not, he wouldn't be a match for Luo Feng. Since that was the case, why should he let Luo Feng have a magnanimous reputation? Luo Feng's expression froze. He thought this Chu Fang was stupid, but he didn't expect him to be a sharp-tongued person. However, the competition didn't rely on words. He would let him learn a lesson today and vent the anger in his heart. He had long coveted Xiaoyu, but Island Master Qi had originally planned to marry Xiaoyu to Tower Master Luochen, so he could only conceal his thoughts. Later on, after his various schemes, the pie finally landed on his head. However, when he thought of Xiaoyu refusing to be engaged to him because of Chu Fang, he hated Chu Fang to death. Luo Feng thought of this and did not say anything else. She immediately raised her sword and stabbed towards Chu Fang. The two of them fought and were evenly matched at the beginning. No matter what, Chu Fang was still a core disciple of the Nameless Sword sect. Although his level was lower than Luo Feng's, he would not be at a disadvantage at the very beginning. However, as time passed, Luo Feng gradually gained the upper hand. Luo Feng originally thought that she would be able to force Chu Fang to admit defeat very soon. However, even though Chu Fang suffered a few minor injuries, he did not have the intention of admitting defeat and continued to grit his teeth and endure. Luo Feng revealed a trace of a cold smile. The sword in his right hand stabbed towards Chu Fang, but water spirit energy gathered in his left hand, and a mist instantly enveloped Chu Fang. This mist was not an ordinary mist. Every drop of water within was a sharp thorn, and once it pierced through a vital point, it would be fatal. Chu Fang was greatly alarmed and hurriedly released his sword intent to block the mist. A trace of ruthlessness flashed through Luo Feng's eyes. The treasured sword in his hand stabbed towards Chu Fang's lower abdomen. If it pierced through this time, Chu Fang would definitely be heavily injured. As Luo Feng intentionally lured Chu Fang towards the door, it was already too late for Elder Gu and the others to make a move, and they could only watch as Chu Fang was injured. At this moment, Luo Feng suddenly staggered, and because he used too much strength, he actually directly fell to the ground. Chu Fang wasn't a fool and naturally wouldn't let go of this good opportunity. He picked up the treasured sword and slashed at Luo Feng's face that had just been raised before sending Luo Feng flying with a kick. He Xinjiu almost laughed out loud. As for why Luo Feng fell, it was naturally because of Xiao Hanio. Luo Feng quickly walked in, flustered and exasperated. His injuries were not serious, but because of the cut on his face was covered in blood and he was in an exceptionally sorry state. Just as he was about to continue, He Xinjiu said with a smile, "Island Master Qi, the victor has already been decided, so there's no need to continue the competition, right?" Luo Feng had already been kicked out of the door by my senior brother Chu. If this was on the competition stage, it would be equivalent to being kicked off the competition stage, so what was the point of continuing the competition? Island Master Qi looked at Luo Feng, whose face was covered in blood, and then looked at the calm and composed Chu Fang, and his heart felt as though it was bickering with a dog. This was completely different from what he had expected, okay? Luo Feng usually looked pretty good, but why was she so useless today? He was so angry. Chapter 46-69, Spirit Bees help. Island Master Qi, don't overdo it. Let them spar with each other in the future. Master Ouyang was secretly pleased when he saw Island Master Qi's stiff old face, but he still gave him a way out. Island Master Qi waved his hand and signaled Chu Fang and Luo Feng to return to their seats. Chu Fang calmly returned to his seat, but Luo Feng was in a much worse state. Her face was covered in blood, so she could only find an excuse to slip away. Island Master Qi only felt that he couldn't let go of the anger in his heart. He originally wanted to make Chu Fang lose face, but now, he had made him the center of attention. Island Master Qi was in a bad mood, so he forced himself to be energetic and perfunctory for a while before the banquet ended. Returning to the guest house, He Xinjiu sneakily asked Chu Fang, "Senior brother Chu, did you deliberately scratch that Luo Feng's face?" An unnatural look flashed across Chu Fang's face as he mumbled, "It was just a coincidence." Yun Chujo curled her lips. "Stop pretending in front of me. However, I don't think that Luo Feng will let this go and will find trouble with you. When the time comes, you can work with him as hard as you want. Leave everything else to me." Chu Feng nodded. Without Yun Chujo saying anything, he would not show weakness to Luo Feng either. To their surprise, Luo Feng did not find trouble with Chu Feng for the next 2 days and was very quiet. Yun Chujo thought about it and understood the reason. Luo Feng's face was hurt by Chu Feng, so he was probably recovering from his injury. Otherwise, he would have embarrassed himself at the engagement party. Moreover, he only wanted to nail down the engagement and naturally did not want to cause any trouble. "Junior sister Yun, tomorrow is the engagement day. Why aren't you making any movements?" Chu Feng anxiously asked. "What's the rush? I have my own arrangements, just wait," He Xinjiu said with a smile. Chu Feng did not know what He Xinjiu was up to, so he could only pray in his heart that Yun Chujo did not deceive him and that the main characters of the engagement banquet the next day would be him and Xiaoyu. After Chu Feng left, a spirit bee flew into He Xinjia's courtyard and landed on He Xinjia's palm. He Xinjiu used her divine sense to ask the spirit bee for some information, such as where Xiaoyu's courtyard was and how many guards were guarding it. This fellow originally wanted to see Xiaoyu in person, but when he heard the news from the spirit bee, he gave up the idea. There were many guards outside Xiaoyu's courtyard, so it was impossible for her to see Xiaoyu quietly. He Xinjiu recalled Chu Feng saying that he had broken off contact with Xiaoyu, so there was a high chance that the voice transmission talisman in Xiaoyu's hand had been confiscated by Island Master Qi. The spirit bee immediately grabbed the leaf and flew to Xiaoyu's courtyard. Xiaoyu was wiping her tears in the yard when she heard a click. She saw a storage ring wrapped in a leaf on the stone table in front of her. She looked up in surprise and saw a spirit bee flapping its wings and flying away. She picked up the storage ring and realized that there were no other people's spiritual perception imprints on it. She immediately sent her spiritual perception in and discovered that there was a voice transmission talisman, a bottle of pills and some miscellaneous items inside. Just when Xiaoyu was puzzled, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. She quickly sent her spiritual sense into it and He Xinjia's careless voice came from inside, "Dear little moon, do you still remember the little fairy Jiu of the Nameless Sword sect?" Chapter 4670, Xiaoyu whose life was hanging by a thread. Hearing He Xinjia's voice, Xiaoyu's tears fell even more fiercely. She sobbed and said, "So you're not dead yet? Didn't I say you were dead? Little Yu, your words are still as unpleasant as before. Let me ask you, do you want to marry that Luo Feng or Chu Feng? If you want to marry Luo Feng, it'll persuade senior brother Chu to give up completely. If you want to marry senior brother Chu, it'll help you deal with that island master Qi who broke up the couple and make him agree to your marriage. Can you really convince my master?" Xiaoyu asked with a trembling voice. It wasn't that she hadn't fought back or begged before, but Island Master Qi only agreed on one thing. She could only marry a disciple of the Flying Flower Island so that when she inherited the position of Island Master in the future, more people would support her. "It's a piece of cake. Let alone letting you marry Chu Feng, even if I let you marry a pig, I can still get that stubborn old fool to agree," He Xinjiu said smugly. "Xiaoyu," He Xinjiu immediately kissed Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu's face flushed red as she felt that this Xiaoyu was becoming immoral. After He Xinjiu and Xiaoyu finished discussing, Xiaoyu took out the bottle of pills and poured one into her mouth and swallowed it. The next morning, an old woman brought 2 maids to help Xiaoyu dress up. However, when she pushed open the bedroom door, she cried out in shock. Xiaoyu's originally jade-like face was filled with lumps of all sizes. This was nothing. The main thing was that the corner of Xiaoyu's mouth, the blanket, and even the ground was stained with blood. As for Xiaoyu, her breathing was like a thread, as though she was going to die at any moment. The old woman was so frightened that she almost lost her pulse. She scrambled to deliver the letter to Island Master Qi. Island Master Chi's head was buzzing. He originally thought that the old woman was exaggerating, but by the time he arrived, Xiao Yu was already half dead. Master, I can't do it anymore. In the future, no, I can't be filial. Xiao Yu's neck tilted after she said that and she stopped breathing. Island Master Chi reached out his trembling hand to check Xiao Yu's breathing. When he found that there was still a trace of her breath, he couldn't help but cry and shout, quickly find the doctors on the island. And then, invite Tower Master Luo Chen and the others over. The reason why Island Master Chi called Lan Luo Chen and the others over was that he was afraid that the doctors on the island wouldn't be able to find the cause of the illness. Perhaps the people from other sects would be able to find the clues. Chu Fang and He Xinjiu naturally followed them. When Chu Fang saw Xiao Yu's appearance, his eyes immediately turned red. He ignored Elder Gus' obstruction and rushed to Xiao Yu's bed. He pushed away Island Master Chi and held Xiao Yu's hand as he said with a trembling voice, Xiao Yu, what happened to you? Don't scare me. When he saw that Xiao Yu did not react in the slightest, he looked angrily at the dejected Island Master Chi. Tell me, how did Xiao Yu become like this? Did you force her? Tell me. Elder Gu was afraid that Chu Fang would cause trouble, so he took a step forward and struck him unconscious with a palm. He gave an apologetic glance at Island Master Chi before dragging Chu Fang to the back and placing him on a chair. The island's physician arrived very quickly, but after seeing Xiao Yu's condition, he shook his head and sighed. Island Master, Miss Xiao Yu's condition is really rare. This old man is incompetent and is unable to diagnose the cause of the illness. When Island Master Chi heard this, his body swayed a few times and he barely managed to maintain his figure. He looked pleadingly at Tower Master Luo Chen and the others. Everyone, do you have any ideas? As long as you can save my disciple's life, I will agree to any request you make. Chapter 46-71 Resentment of a Woman. There were indeed people who were proficient in medical skills among the guests, but after the diagnosis, they shook their heads and sighed. Island Master Chi, it's not that we can't do our best. It's just that Xiao Yu's symptoms are really rare. We really can't do anything about it. Island Master Chi slumped to the ground dejectedly. How did such a happy event turn into this? At this moment, Elder Jia of the Flying Flower Island frowned and said, Island Master, I seem to have seen this situation in an ancient book. It's just that the treatment method is a little difficult to handle. Island Master Chi's eyes suddenly lit up as he immediately jumped up and grabbed Elder Jia's arm tightly. What method? Tell me quickly. Elder Jia sighed and said, Xiao Yu, this is actually not an illness, but a kind of poison. What? Poison? Everyone was stunned. Who would have the guts to poison Xiao Yu? Island Master Chi was also stunned. Poison? You mean someone poisoned Xiao Yu? Elder Jia shook his head. Although this is poison, it wasn't done by anyone, but by the poison produced in her body. Elder Jia's words made everyone even more confused. This was too roundabout. What did he mean by this? Elder Jia continued, only unmarried girls will get this kind of illness. It's called the poison of resentment against women. When a young girl's love is just beginning, once she has the clear qi in her body and the murky qi in her body sinks, her entire person will become even more beautiful and moving. It's precisely because of this that once her wish is unable to be fulfilled, the originally sinking murky qi will turn into a poison. Most people will only have a weak body or suffer a serious illness before dissipating. However, there will be a very small number of people with special physiques. The turbid poison is very serious, and this will endanger their lives. Moreover, the illness will take place very quickly. From the time the illness takes place to the time of death, it will only take 3 days. Everyone was dumbstruck when they heard this. This was the first time they had heard such a statement. However, they had heard rumors that many young girls had fallen ill because their families had broken up the lovebirds. There were all kinds of strange things in the world. This should be true. When Island Master Chi heard this, he was so regretful that his intestines turned green. If he knew that his precious disciple would die because he did not agree to the marriage, he would not object even if she wanted to marry a pig. He grabbed Elder Jia's arm tightly. Elder Jia, since you know the cause of the illness, you also know how to treat it, right? Quickly tell me, how can I treat her? Speak. What method is it? Island Master Chi nearly strangled him to death. What time was it? Hard to say, my ass. As long as someone engages in conjugal affairs with Xiao Yu and draws the poison in her body into her body, Xiao Yu will recover completely. However, the other party will suffer a great loss of vitality because of this and might even lose her life, Elder Jia said with a flushed face. Elder Jia felt as though his heart was bickering with a dog. His nonsense was naturally taught to him by He Xinjiu. No one else could think of such a wicked method. He wanted to refuse, but He Xinjiu had grasped his weakness. He did not know how this stinky girl knew that he and Luo Feng's master, Elder Diao, were on bad terms. She kissed him, saying that if Xiao Yu married Luo Feng, then there would be no place for him in the future. Moreover, Elder Jia usually doted on Xiao Yu and did not want her to miss her lover and marry someone she did not like. Therefore, Elder Jia braced himself to help put on an act. Chapter 46-72, The Disappointed Island Master Chi. Everyone looked at each other in dismay when they heard Elder Jia's words. This was actually such a method. Although everyone was very surprised, no one suspected that Elder Jia was spouting nonsense. After all, Elder Jia had a good reputation and no one would have thought that he was colluding with He Xinjiu. Everyone's gaze fell on Elder Diao and Luo Feng. After all, Luo Feng was Xiao Yu's betrothed. Luo Feng's face was still smeared with ointment, but in order to show off in front of Island Master Chi, he came at once. However, when he heard Elder Jia's words, he unconsciously took a few steps back. Although he coveted Xiao Yu's beauty and power in the future, he did not want to lose his little life because of this. With Xiao Yu's wretched appearance, he was not in the mood to sleep with her, not to mention that he might lose his life after sleeping with her. Island Master Chi did not know what he was thinking and eagerly looked at him. Luo Feng, since today is your engagement banquet, why don't we change it to a wedding banquet? Don't worry, I won't mistreat you. Although Island Master Chi felt that this request was a bit excessive, Luo Feng had always shown deep affection for Xiao Yu and was probably willing to sacrifice himself to save Xiao Yu, not to mention that she might not die. Luo Feng's face instantly turned deathly pale, and he stuttered, Island Master, what? You're not willing. So the things you said to me were all fake? Island Master Chi angrily shouted. Luo Feng fell to her knees with a plop. Island Master, I naturally have true feelings for junior sister Xiao Yu, but this disciple doesn't want to die. Island Master Chi was so angry that he almost died. This was the person he had carefully selected. He was really blind. He angrily shouted, get lost. Someone, pass down the order. As long as someone is willing to use Xiao Yu's body to cure the poison, I will pass on the position of Island Master to him. Island Master Chi was fully convinced that after saying this, there would definitely be disciples who would come and help Xiao Yu cure the poison. After all, there were many disciples who were willing to marry Xiao Yu. However, he was disappointed. No one came. Because no matter how good a beauty was or how powerful she was, her life was not important. At this moment, He Xinjiu pinched the unconscious Chu Fang. Chu Fang had been unconscious for a while, so he woke up from the pain. He Xinjiu almost laughed out loud. So Xiao Yu called senior brother Chu blockhead. It was really an image. Island Master Chi wanted to kick Chu Fang away, but his eyes lit up and he asked sternly, Brat, let me ask you, do you really like Xiao Yu? Chu Fang's eyes were bloodshot and he looked like he could not wait to eat Island Master Chi. Of course, I really like Xiao Yu. Tell me, why did Xiao Yu become like this? Island Master Qi did not care about Chu Fang's attitude and said, Xiao Yu was poisoned by the resentful woman's poison. You only need to, just have sex with her, and her poison will be cured. Chu Fang, are you bullying him for being a young scholar? Are you playing with him? Who are you fooling? Elder Jia said from the side, Island Master is right. If you want to save Xiao Yu, this is the only way. However, after the incident, your vitality will be greatly damaged and you might even lose your life. Island Master Qi glared at Elder Jia. What did he mean by saying so much? This time, this brat would definitely not agree. Chapter 4673 She is more important than my life. Chu Fang was stunned for a moment before he looked at Elder Jia. What you said is true. As long as I pass the poison onto my body, Xiao Yu will be saved. Elder Jia nodded. It's absolutely true. Chu Fang glanced at the barely breathing Xiao Yu before he stood up and walked towards the door. Island Master Qi's heart was filled with disappointment and disdain. He had already said that this Chu Fang was not sincere towards Xiao Yu at all. Just as he was thinking, he saw Chu Fang kneel in front of Elder Gu and kowtow 3 times heavily. Master, your disciple is unfilial. I can't be filial in front of you in the future. I can't not save little Yu, because in my heart, she is more important than my life. Elder Gu wanted to say something, but in the end, he just let out a long sigh. Evil fate, evil fate. Go, I won't stop you. Chu Fang walked to Master Ouyang and knelt down and kowtowed 3 times. I have let down the sect. Please forgive me, Master. Master Ouyang sighed and helped him up, but he didn't say anything. Chu Fang finally walked to He Xinjiu and bowed. Junior Sister Yun, thank you for your many favors. I can't repay you in this life. I will definitely repay you well in the next life. After I die, I hope that you can help me show filial piety in front of my master. I am very grateful. He Xinjiu's nose was sour. Although she knew that Chu Fang would not die, she was still moved to tears by this fool. She choked and said, Senior Brother Chu, have you thought it through? Are you really going to sacrifice yourself to save Little Moon? Chu Fang did not respond. He just nodded and walked to Island Master Qi. He said, Island Master Qi, I am willing to save Little Moon. But I have a request. I hope that you won't force her to marry someone she doesn't like in the future, and don't force her to do something she doesn't like. Otherwise, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Island Master Qi was dazed. He could not describe the feeling in his heart. In the end, he said, I promise you. Chu Fang nodded and said, you can all leave now. He Xinjiu wiped her tears and sobbed, wait. Island Master Qi, my senior brother Chu would rather sacrifice his own life to save Little Moon. He can't just fall asleep without any reason, can he? Shouldn't you give my senior brother Chu a proper identity? Are you so heartless that my senior brother Chu will die with regret? Elder Jiyu said with tears streaming down his face, that's right. I won't stop that foolish disciple of mine from saving people, but you should at least give us an explanation. Island Master Qi nodded. I'll betroth Xiao Yu to Chu Fang now. If Chu Fang can keep his life this time, I'll hold another wedding for them and pass the position of Island Master to him in the future. He Xinjiu pursed her lips. That was more like it. Otherwise, wouldn't all her efforts be in vain? Elder Gu did not say another word. He only let out a long sigh and took the lead to walk out. The others also walked out. He Xinjiu was halfway through when she took out a script from her storage ring and handed it to Chu Fang. Senior brother Chu, if there's anything you don't understand, just follow the instructions above. Master Ouyang's face reddened when he saw the inappropriate scene on the cover of the script. This precious disciple of his was really difficult to explain. The others had also guessed the contents of the script. A trace of a smile flashed across Tower Master Luchen's eyes before the jealousy in his heart rose again. Could it be that she and Di Baiming would follow the instructions inside? Thinking of this, Tower Master Luchin's eyes instantly darkened, and she turned around to leave. Chapter 46-74, Getting Married. After everyone left, Chu Feng stared blankly at the script in his hand. In the end, he flipped through it with a flushed face. What he didn't notice was that along with the faint fragrance emitted from the script, Xiao Yu's breathing, which was already barely breathing, began to calm down. Even the knot on her face slowly became smaller. Island Master Qi was not in the mood to entertain everyone, so everyone tactfully returned to the guest house. In particular, Elder Gus' figure was staggering. If not for Elder Dongfang supporting him by the side, he might not have been able to walk. He Xinjia's conscience hurt a little, so she said, "Elder Gu, didn't Elder Jia say it? It's only a great loss of vitality, and it might not be the end of his life. Senior brother Chu is very affectionate. He will definitely be fine." Elder Dongfang consoled him from the side, "That's right. Chu Feng, that child, will definitely be fine. Perhaps the heavens have given them a tribulation in order to help them." Elder Gu felt slightly better after being consoled by the two of them. He prayed in his heart that his precious disciple would be safe. 2 hours later, Island Master Qi arrived at Xiao Yu's courtyard worriedly. He wanted to enter the house to take a look, but when he reached the door, he heard some sounds that made his old face blush, so he had no choice but to leave. It was not until the next morning that Island Master Qi rushed over. At the same time, Elder Gu and the others also received the news and rushed to Xiao Yu's courtyard. Xiao Yu had already returned to her original beautiful appearance, and she was even more radiant due to her shyness. On the other hand, Chu Fang's face was pale and he looked sickly. When everyone saw this, they thought to themselves that Elder Jia's method was indeed effective. What was worth congratulating was that although Chu Feng looked like he had suffered a great loss of vitality, it was a blessing in disguise for him to be able to save his life. When Elder Gu saw that his disciple had survived, tears streamed down his face. Chu Feng struggled to kowtow but was stopped by Elder Gu. Island Master Qi was also very happy to see that Xiao Yu was safe and sound. After this incident, he had come to terms with it. Nothing was more important than his disciple's life. Now that things had come to this, he could only accept his fate. Immediately, the island was decorated with lanterns and the betrothal banquet turned into Chu Feng and Xiao Yu's wedding banquet. As for why Chu Fang's face was pale, it was because he was stubborn. He felt that only by doing it a few more times would he be able to completely transfer the poison in Xiao Yu's body into his own body, so he coughed. Xiao Yu and Yun Chujiu were temporarily not prepared to tell Chu Feng the truth of the matter, in case he gave himself away. That would not be good. Chu Fang's mood had been fluctuating for the past few days, and now only a silly smile remained on his face. Although Island Master Qi still had a look of disdain when he saw Chu Feng, when he thought of how Chu Feng could save Xiao Yu at the critical moment, he accepted Chu Feng in his heart. At the wedding, He Xinjiu gave the 100 million high-grade spirit stones earned from the Little Nine banquet to Island Master Qi in public, saying that this was Chu Fang's betrothal gift to Xiao Yu. Island Master Qi immediately burst into laughter, and the last bit of dissatisfaction vanished into thin air. Although Chu Fang's matter had been settled, He Xinjiu still had one more thing to do, and that was to steal the pearl. With Xiao Yu's help, He Xinjiu found out the location of the black pearl without much effort, but it was somewhat troublesome. Chapter 46-75 The tide of tens of thousands of feet strikes. According to Xiao Yu, there was a forbidden area at the bottom of the sea on the Flying Flower Island, and the bead was buried there. He Xinjiu was not afraid of water or any array formation, but the security on the Flying Flower Island was so tight that she had no way to dive to the bottom of the sea. Seeing that she was going to return the next day, He Xinjiu was extremely anxious. Although Chu Feng did not know what she wanted the bead for, he instinctively believed that she would not do anything that would harm the heavens. Junior sister Yun, why don't you ask Little Moon and Island Master Qi to let you stay for a few more days? That way, you'll have a chance to make your move. He Xinjia's eyes lit up. Senior brother Chu was a cheerful person when it came to happy events, and he was much smarter than before. However, before Xiao Yu could go to Island Master Qi to ask for He Xinjiu to stay, something happened. That night, the wind and waves suddenly rose, and a wild tide swept over. The various islands of Flying Flower Island hurriedly activated their protective arrays to prevent casualties. Yun Chujiu had seen such a situation before and knew that it was the tens of thousands of feet tide. The nest of that group of giant winged birds had been destroyed by the tens of thousands of feet tide. However, the tens of thousands of feet tide in the sea of all things was obviously much more terrifying than what Yun Chujiu had seen before. 10 days passed in a row, but the tens of thousands of feet tide still didn't stop. Master Ouyang and the other sect masters could only stay on the Flying Flower Island. Island Master Qi, the tens of thousands of feet tide this time is a bit unusual. Normally, the tens of thousands of feet tide will only last for 3 days at most. How could it last so long this time? Besides, this voice transmission talisman can't be used anymore. It's equivalent to losing contact with the outside world. If the Divine Demon Hall takes advantage of us not to play any tricks, I'm afraid it'll be terrible. Island Master Luo of Ascension Island said with a frown. Sigh, I also feel that the tens of thousands of feet tide is a bit strange. But it's a natural disaster, and I can't do anything about it. Island Master Qi said with a sigh. His white hair had grown a lot in the past few days, and it had been rising again and again before the tide had even subsided. Why was he so unlucky recently? Everyone was frowning. The sea surface was very rough at the moment, and ships could not sail. There was also a no-fly zone here, so there was no way for them to leave the Flying Flower Island. Everyone discussed and discussed, but they could not come up with a solution. What was worse was that some of the small islands' protective arrays could no longer hold on. Moreover, as the sea level continued to rise, some of the islands had already been submerged by the sea. Island Master Qi had no choice but to have everyone move to the main island. When he saw that the foundation of the Flying Flower Island had been destroyed, his heart ached so much that he wanted to jump into the sea. However, the worst thing was yet to come. Right now, Island Master Qi could not be bothered to hide anything. He activated the water repellent bead he had obtained from the auction and dived to the bottom of the sea, wanting to investigate the cause of the island's collapse. However, he returned with serious injuries. After a round of rescue, Island Master Qi's face turned pale as he said, "There are many high-level sea beasts gathered at the bottom of the sea near the island. They are gnawing on the underwater part of the main island. It won't be long before the island capsizes." Hearing this, everyone turned pale with fright. After a discussion, the most important thing now was to kill those sea beasts. Otherwise, even if they had a protective array, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long if the island capsized. Therefore, everyone took turns diving into the sea to kill the sea beasts. Every time, there would be people who were injured or even killed. The entire Flying Flower Island was shrouded in the shadow of death. Chapter 46-76 He Xinjiu goes to the sea. Because they had to fight in the sea, the cultivators with other spiritual roots naturally could not compete with the cultivators with water spiritual roots. Therefore, the disciples of Flying Flower Island were the first to go to the sea to kill the sea beasts. Later, the situation became more and more serious. The disciples with other spiritual roots and the guests who came to the wedding also joined the battle. However, Chu Fang had not gone to the sea to participate in the battle because he was seriously wounded and had to take care of Island Master Qi, who was seriously wounded. This was understandable, but someone did not like Chu Fang. "Chu Fang, the island master is now seriously injured, and you are Xiao Yu's husband. Shouldn't you take the lead?" Luo Feng said with a fake smile. He felt that Xiao Yu was originally his and the position of island master was also his. Now that it was snatched away by Chu Fang, he naturally hated Chu Fang to the bone. That was why he said this in front of everyone. If Chu Fang did not agree, then his reputation would be tarnished. In the future, after Flying Flower Island escaped danger, he would not be able to convince the masses. If Chu Fang agreed, then Chu Fang had a gold spirit root and his fighting strength in the water could not be compared to that of a water spirit root. He would most likely die in the sea. Therefore, whether Chu Fang agreed or not, there would be no good results. Xiao Yu glared at Luo Feng and said, Chu Fang has a gold spirit root, and he hasn't fully recovered yet, so he can't go into the sea. Blockhead, you stay here and take care of my master. I'll bring this group of people down to kill the sea beasts. Chu Fang naturally wouldn't let Xiao Yu take the risk. I've already recovered. You stay here, I'll go. No, you don't have a water spirit root, I'll go. Xiao Yu insisted. Luo Feng was so angry that his face was twisted. He snorted and said, stop acting. Who will go? He Xinjiu said faintly, they won't go. I'll go on behalf of senior brother Chu. Luo Feng glanced at Yun Chujiu. He hated Chu Fang, so he didn't have a good impression of Yun Chujiu. He said to himself, he wouldn't stop her if she wanted to die. At worst, he could force Chu Fang into the sea in a few days. Xiao Yu and Chu Fang wanted to stop He Xinjiu, but they saw her blink her eyes. Both of them knew that this fellow was full of evil, so they let her be. However, Master Ouyang's face was full of disapproval. After all, he only had one disciple right now, so he was afraid that something would happen to her. However, He Xinjiu wanted to participate in the battle no matter what, so Master Ouyang could only let her be. He Xinjiu was not a member of the Flying Flower Island, so she naturally could not be allowed to lead the team. In the end, Elder Jia brought He Xinjiu and more than 100 disciples of the Flying Flower Island to the bottom of the sea. Before leaving, Master Ouyang handed He Xinjiu more than 90 waterproof beads and told her to be careful. He Xinjiu's face was full of gratitude, but in her heart, she cursed that she had a lot of this damn thing, and she also had a lot of waterproof beads. However, this fellow knew the principle of the sin of possessing a treasure, so he naturally wouldn't shout it out. He Xinjiu followed Elder Jia and the others into the seawater. The seawater was turbulent, and the bottom was muddy, so they could only see things at a close distance. Elder Jia gestured for her to follow him. He Xinjiu immediately followed behind Elder Jia obediently and continued to swim deeper into the seawater. Very soon, He Xinjiu heard the roars of sea beasts and the sound of them gnawing on the rocks of the island. It was simply creepy. Of course, He Xinjiu would not be creepy. Whenever she interacted with beasts, whether it was spirit beasts, sea beasts, exotic beasts, immortal beasts, or divine beasts, this fellow would find it very amusing. Chapter 46-77, The little bastard who volunteered. Those sea beasts were all high-level sea beasts, and they soon discovered Elder Jia and the others. Some of the sea beasts quickly swam toward the group. The already turbid sea water became even more turbid when stirred by these sea beasts. For the sea beasts, some of them did not only rely on their vision to hunt, but also their hearing or other means. Therefore, they worked even harder to stir the sea water. Elder Jia and the rest hurriedly retreated because their vision was obstructed, which was very disadvantageous to them. After Elder Jia and the rest retreated a distance, they discovered that He Xinjiu had disappeared. Elder Jia's head buzzed. When he came down, Xiao Yu had specially instructed him to take good care of that little lass. Why did she disappear in such a short period of time? Could it be that she had lost her way? Elder Jia wanted to find Yun Chujiu, but the surrounding seawater was very turbid. Many sea beasts pounced on him, so he could only suppress the worry in his heart and start fighting with the sea beasts. But what puzzled him was that after a moment, the sea beasts turned around and ran away like a tide, and they seemed rather impatient. What was going on? Elder Jia had no time to think about it. He brought his people and swam towards the main island. On one hand, he was looking for He Xinjiu's whereabouts, and on the other hand, he continued to drive away the sea beasts. However, what made him dumbfounded was that there was no sea beast near the main island. What was going on? At this moment, He Xinjiu was riding on the little bastard's body, escaping for her life. The little bastard's current appearance was very different from before. He had completely transformed into the appearance of the young black tortoise. Because Hei Shinjo did not fight in the water, the little bastard was basically useless. It was simply sullen. This time, it took the initiative to ask for battle and insisted on coming out to help. Hei Shinjo saw that Elder Jia and the others had already retreated far away, so she let the little bastard out. In order to show off, the little bastard released its domineering aura. It immediately shocked the surrounding sea beasts and made them retreat. Master, how is it? I'm very strong now, right? These small fries are not my match, the little bastard said proudly. Before Hei Shinjo could praise the little bastard, the sea beasts realized that the little bastard was just a black tortoise cub and rushed over greedily. The little bastard ran away and almost knocked Hei Shinjo off his back. Why are you running? Aren't you very powerful now? Hei Shinjo scolded angrily. Hei Shinjo was so angry. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have let this trash out. But now, not only was she unable to help, she had even caused more trouble for her. As the young black tortoise was too tempting to the sea beasts, not to mention the sea beasts that were chasing Elder Jia, even the sea beasts that were originally gnawing on the main island had chased after them when they received the news. Hei Shinjo looked at the sea beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth, and she wanted to cry but had no tears. This damned little bastard. Fortunately, the little bastard's ability was not that great, and his escape method was not bad. His 4 claws were desperately trying to paddle the water, but the sea beasts did not manage to catch up to him. Hei Shinjo suddenly had an idea. If she lured the sea beasts away, wouldn't she have saved the people on the island? Since that was the case, she would lure them further away. After all, she had the water repellent bead, so it would not be a problem for her to live underwater for a long time. This time, the little bastard is unlucky. Day also run, night also run, almost tired to vomit blood. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.